Move to empower. Well, there's three words where two of them might need some further contemplation. We're talking today about empowerment, and we are working around an explanation whereby something that enables you to do more, to achieve more, makes you more capable, and perhaps even pursue fulfillment in the world. And depending which psychologist or spiritual leader you happen to ask, fulfillment often comes from helping other people find their fulfillment. So imagine what kind of beautiful world we could live in if everyone was finding their fulfillment that way. There's one thing that can make you more capable every time you do it, and prevent you from losing some of the capability as you age, and can buy you longer at the crease and keep you in the game a bit longer, pursuing fulfillment a bit longer, and helping other people a bit longer. And that thing is movement. So what counts as movement? Most of our minds leap immediately to wearing lycra and getting sweaty, feeling bad, and paying for the privilege. Some of us leap to grassy ovals and running around and chasing a ball with our friends. Well, they both count. Not many of us leap to walking through our place of work, walking through our neighborhood, gardening, housework. But those things count. And in fact, as you sit there where you are right now, seemingly motionless, important parts of you are moving. Your heart's pumping blood around your body, your lungs draw in every important breath. If you're not moving, you're not living. So I want to have a little illustrative story which explains how I got to this point. 4 months ago, playing the sport that I love, I hurt myself, as you do. Snapped my Achilles. I can't advise it. And every person I met going through A&E and all the various stages would ask me the same question. What are you doing playing sport at your age? And this is my life, but I didn't have an answer. I researched sport and exercise. And maybe I was in pain, but I couldn't answer the question. And now I can, and I want to walk you through how I now answer that question. And it comes in 3 parts. So we have our own mnemonic. Everything's changed. There we go. Mnemonic. No videos. We have our own mnemonic to remember that message. We have to envisage an American college sports team called the Carpums with a very unusual logo. And we're cheering for them, so we're going to shout, "Go Carpums!" But that will help us remember the important message of this talk, which goes in 3 neatly aligned phases. Making us feel bad about not moving doesn't work. There is a difference between good and bad motivation, and we need to focus on the good kind. And then there are other things that we get from moving, other than just not getting ill, that are actually really valuable. So the first 2 letters are that guilt only hurts motivation. And we've heard the message. 2 out of 5 Australians, if you ask them in a survey, say they get enough exercise. When you attach a monitor, 1 out of 5 Australians actually get enough exercise. And some of them probably attached it to their dog. You seeing this guy? And yet, when we hear that message, we don't leap out of our chair and go to the gym or go for a walk. Why not? We momentarily feel bad. And I do too, by the way. In fact, something else happens. And my good friend Alison Crozier, University of South Australia, is currently examining exactly this, whereby when you see an empty basketball court and a ball bouncing sadly across it, or an empty oval with a discarded water bottle on it, you don't leap out of your seat and do exercise, and you hear those stats. Many of us don't get enough exercise. You think, oh, good, I'm normal. It sets the norm. And hey, we're all like this. Completely counterintuitive, but that seems to be what's happening. And we've known this for a while, and we still keep trying the same message. So that's bad motivation. And when no sales marketing executive would sign off on that campaign. There's a thing that nobody else really has, and you don't have it either, and you should feel bad about that. All for the small cost of lots of your time and effort. No, change the channel. I don't want that advert. So we're selling exercise and movement wrong, which leads to the distinction between good and bad motivation. We've been doing it wrong all this time, and we've known for 40 years the difference between good and bad motivation. Most of us leap when we think of motivation to carrot and stick. There is a punishment, which is undesirable, and that's the stick, and a big stick is more motivating. And there is a carrot, which is desirable, and that's the reward, and that's motivating. The juicier the carrot, the more motivating. But there's actually a common denominator in that equation, and it's the person being motivated is not the person holding the carrot or the stick. We know we're being manipulated, and we actually react to that. So back in 1971, Edward Deasy was doing experiments where he would leave people in a room to do a very boring computer game for far too long. Just in the corner was a magazine. And he would say, okay, there you go. I'm going to leave the room for a while. Get on with it. People who were paid remarkably little did the experiment. People who were paid a little bit too much. See, Edward, yep, I'll do this. He was watching. So he knew exactly, and he timed how long, and the more money you pay, the more likely they are to be reading the magazine. And it keeps happening. And they did it with more modern computers, leaving a window open in the corner with a chess game. And the second they've left the room, if you pay them too much money, ooh, chess, or solitaire, or whatever. So we know we're being manipulated with a carrot or a stick, and we react against that because it's not coming from inside of us. And that's the best type of motivation. They call it intrinsic motivation. And it's something we barely ever pay attention to. And the only easy way I can think of finding what that is, and what you will therefore find fulfilling, is to ask the question, if you didn't have to pay a mortgage and pay bills and buy food, if those things were looked after, what would you do with yourself every day? Many of our answers, it leaps straight to a dream job, which still involves earning money, and we have to start again. It's a hard question to answer, and movement empowers you one step closer to being able to answer that question. And it's tied up with motivation because intrinsic motivation is this little quiet voice inside. These three things you see before you are what draw out that voice. Anything where I can make you feel more competent. You're improving, you can see you're improving, and you feel you're improving. That draws out your intrinsic motivation, makes you feel more competent. If I can make you feel more in control, and you have choices, and you're not the victim of life, but you're actually influencing life, that's motivating. They call it autonomy. And of course, human beings, we need to be around other human beings. We don't have sharp claws, sharp teeth, no big shell. We're not particularly dangerous on our own. Our strength is in numbers. And so we're actually hardwired to gravitate to being around other people, and we like them to recognize us and know us and like us, approve of us. We really are hardwired to like that. And it's one of the reasons we've done so well in the world. We don't just stop when we have food and water and safety. We carry on and we explore and we play because we're seeking more competence, more autonomy, and more relatedness. Any task I can give you, or you can choose, that lets you feel those three things is much more motivating. And I won't need any carrot or stick to make you keep doing it. So guilt only hurts. It's mainly an extrinsic motivation, external. The good motivation comes from within, and it's sustainable, and it keeps going. You feed that flame. And that leads us to being able to answer the question. When I was in hospital, and I love running around, but I'm being asked, why do you do that, you crazy old man? I had intrinsic motivation. My colleagues didn't. The answer is it's not just to avoid dying. So of course, exercise, if we could make it into a pill, would be the best preventive medicine in the world. It prevents heart disease, it prevents diabetes, it prevents some forms of cancer. It helps you recover quicker from some forms of cancer. It's astonishing. It reduces all kinds of mental illness, better than the best tablets that we have to give people. It's an amazing medicine. But the benefits, of course, are far more than just physical. Even if we go beyond the tissues of our body, and a recent conference concluded, by the way, a medical conference concluded that every organ in the human body responds positively to exercise. That's a big thing, I think. But you're also learning skills. It's our main vessel for interacting with the world around us. So every time I do something, I generate feedback, and that makes me learn more about my world. That's really valuable information, and I shouldn't undervalue that mechanism for learning skills. That said, exercise and movement is about more than just calories burned or skills learned. You're still getting more out of it. When I'm exercising, I feel good. I get the so-called runner's high. Endorphins are released. The way that chemicals are affecting my metabolism is changed. Insulin acts differently after I've been exercising. I get a sense of self-esteem because I've done things that I didn't think I could do. And that's nice. So I get emotional benefits and physical benefits and mental benefits because I'm actually solving complex problems when I'm moving. We shoot up steps, we go over uneven terrain, we throw a ball between each other, and any robot we've so far built can't do those things simultaneously. We've built one that can go upstairs, we've built one that can go over uneven terrain, but not together, and it can't then pick up a ball and throw it to its friend. We're solving really complex problems, and the best example is learning to drive, where most of us found that extremely challenging. And of course now, it's very easy. We can have our phone on and maybe be eating our breakfast all at the same time, but we take it for granted. That child who's dropping blocks or knocking them over or building them up and then knocking them over repeatedly is learning about the world and solving complex problems in their world. Learning spatial reasoning. And we have research happening right here with Professor Tom Lowry showing that spatial reasoning is the best precursor of subsequent mathematical ability. It's a really important mechanism for learning. And of course there are social benefits. We're out there. When you move out into the world, you meet people. We play on the same teams as people. When I moved here to Canberra, joining a sports team doubled my number of Facebook friends in no time. The same people who offered to help me when I was injured, by the way. It's a really good thing to do. There's even an idea that roughhousing and the way kids play rough with each other is learning about what other people will tolerate and how your actions influence other people. So it's a really important avenue, again, for learning about the social world, even ethics, cheating, morals, all of that are learned through movement. And movement offers us endless opportunities to learn all of these things. I can play sport, yes. I can exercise, yes. I can mindfully garden. Many, many options. I can do DIY. Very skillful tasks are involved. And so there's a nice challenge in here, which is that you can find the answer. I don't have to give you the answer, that you'll just feel better. You can become little scientists yourselves. And there's another really nice piece of research happening at Wollongong. Christy and Swan finds that going into some tasks without a clear goal, I must achieve my half an hour a day, I must achieve a certain level of fitness. Actually, if you just go in and say, let's see what I can do. Let's see how far I can go. Let's see how this feels, is actually a better form of goal, more sustainable, more intrinsically rewarding sort of goal. So you can explore. And then, if you're inspired to move more, you can spread the message, because you'll remember this mnemonic. So when you leave this room and move out into the world, you can move more, you can move differently, you can move mindfully, you can move better, and when your friend looks at you and says, "You're crazy, why are you doing this?" you can answer them with "Go Carpums!"